Morning, everybody. Now it's time for more drawing, because that's what we're fixing the last of these pages. Getting these last pages. We're getting there. It is hot, too. It's already hot here. I'm already uncomfortable. Good morning, Brent. How are you doing this morning? Ready for the weekend. I understand that one. The problem I'm having today is that I'm overheated, and that means my hand is sweaty and it's sticking to my monitor. I've never had this problem before. It's just an uncomfortable problem. Right. Determined to push every button on the AC guy. He is determined. I put a thing on top of it so he'll stop pushing all the buttons with his butt, and he's knocked it off 3 times already. Luckily, the last 3 times, he hasn't actually switched all the buttons. Before, he would sit on the AC's control panel and then switch it to random things. Because he sat there for long enough, he sat on the lock button. And that meant that he would lock it, so that the only way to unlock it was to press and hold the lock button, which took me a while to figure out. Oh, yeah. Now, he's trying to get the water off of the vanes in the front. Maybe what I need to do is stick a box in front of it so he can get on the box and then lick the water off the vanes. The biggest problem we have with that cat is that he doesn't like anything except absolutely perfectly fresh water. And so he's not satisfied with the water fountain downstairs. And we got one of those automatic fountain things that's supposed to cure this problem, and all that has done is make it so that he knocks the water fountain over. Oh, so what he'll do is he gets up on here and he knocks these over. That's why I've got them in tumblers. Good morning, Patsy. Because he will knock over my coffee, he will knock over my tea, he knocks over everything. Such a blast. Good cat, just really pesty. Right? I think it's the nature of cats to be pests. And really, the only reason I'm complaining is because I can't seem to solve it. He clearly has an issue. He has a problem. And I can't seem to fix it for him. And that actually is mostly the reason why it frustrates me. What are you going to do about it? I've broken your thing. And so, what's your plan? I think kittens test. George isn't testing anymore. He's looking for something. He was testing for a while there. We got a lot of that kind of behavior. How much trouble am I going to get in? You know? Right? And Kiddo's unconscious because Kiddo was up way too late. Way, way, way too late. Now he's in the obnoxious teenager phase. Like, that's better for cats. And George is an adult. He should know better. Truth is, the more I think about it, the more I think we should be aware of who all the officers are on the ship. So everybody who's a nondescript guy should just be enlisted. Right? Dope. Yeah, I know. Okay, I think everybody's sealed up on this, so double check. It's good. The thing is that two of the races can't operate in space, and one is limited in capacity. So he's bumped his head, and this chakrana is helping him get up. So we've got the page prior to this. If we move back one page, if we can, is here. There's a big clump, knocks everybody over. The ship gets hit by something. And then these two are like, "You okay?" And then the captain says, "General quarters." And then the next page is this, where it has the boatswain whistle. Boatswain whistle is the one that goes, right? That's the boatswain whistle. So that goes off, and then it said, general quarters, all hands man your battle stations. So what we've got is everybody's listening to the whistles. They're all looking up at the whistle. they're all like dealing with people who have fallen over or whatever. They're trying to help out and things like that when the whistle goes off. Except for our Marine over here, who's already he's already suiting up, because Marines are that way. But everybody's listening for that whistle. Because on a ship, that's the attention whistle. That's everybody listen. You've got something important's about to happen. Nope. See you later, Patsy. Take care. Sort of. They don't need it that much, but they do sort of. I mean, one can argue that at this moment, right now, the AIs and the Nashor are in cryosleep. So one could make that argument. What you going for on this one? Why are you wondering about cryosleep? We actually have a unique and interesting thing going on, which is, unlike Star Trek, where there was like Khan and things like that, they cryosleep. The humans went through a pattern where they were cryosleepy. Unlike that, here we actually don't, because the humans didn't enter the Union until after warp drive, so to speak. So even the earliest humans in the system would still be able to take warp drive, so to speak. So it's not. You'd find cryosleep. You could probably find cryosleep Nashor or Justine, because it's entirely plausible if the Justine or the Nashor were out, during the time prior to the warp drive stuff. But you won't find Also, I may or may not be here tonight. We'll have to see. Things may go wonky on me. I'm going to go get my COVID shot so that I can get my last booster before the convention starts, because I need 2 weeks for it to ramp up. So I'm going to go get my last booster, give it some time to warm up. Maybe that may knock me on my butt, and I may sleep a lot. We'll see. So we'll have to see. I may be fine. Seems to be intermittent as to how it works. Sometimes some people are not flat on their butt, and then sometimes they aren't. There we go. Yeah, let's see if that worked. The space suits are a weird thing. Of course, we will have to come in here at some point and do something about this. Like all the colors are going to have to go in and things like that. I think new version of these background pages, though, I think I'm going to put everything underneath it, because I think I'm going to find it a problem to try to trim these things down. And I think that I need to think I'm looking at this, I'm thinking that next iteration of these, I actually pick up break here in a second. Think this out. Because I think what I'm going to do now is stop for a minute. Right. Take a look at. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. As I'm looking at this and going, okay. So what I did here with these guys was I put a lot of control units out there on the sides. And this fits 11 by 17, but doesn't actually fit inside that range. So I'm kind of looking at this going, you know what I should do is instead of using, I'm just going to do that thought right here real quick. Instead of using this side for all the color codes, I should just use this down area down here. Because I'm going to add something in at some point in time. Either I'm going to add it in for the Webtoons section, or I'm going to not. But whatever's the story, I don't usually use this little section down here that much. So if I were to trim to here, I should probably just save this guy. Well, I did save that guy. It's fine. If I were to trim all the way to the borders here, then I could load this in the correct size. Because I'm worried now. I'm not worried. I know there's no worry about this. I absolutely know this is going to happen. When I export it now, it is about a half an inch too big on all sides. So we're going to have to go through to each page and manually trim it down, which is not going to be a big deal, but it's still an extra hour's worth of work that doesn't need to be there. And it really doesn't. It doesn't need to be. It didn't need to happen and stuff like that. So we can fix that. But I do like having all the grayscale tones here so that they're all uniform, right? But then again, the uniform's great, but then I didn't do the right thing, which is this is the uniform for officers. The enlisted uniform is more like this color, or maybe this color, but it's not quite those colors because this is a line, and that's specialist, and that's reserve. So, I mean, we've got to come up with like all the pieces parts. So there's like, I didn't think it through. I did think it through. There's only so much you can do planning ahead, right? It's not like you can be expected to catch everything. And that's fine. That's fine. But we've learned sort by date modified. So this is the most recent one. Because this is the most recent version of this. All right. Because looking at this here, we've got the most recent version. I could take all of this section over here and bring it down here, and then just put it in this bottom section. So let's talk a little bit about that. Stuff. What? Yes, you're weird. Weirdo. There's nobody to play with, so he's in here a lot. Yeah, because you're in here a lot. If you come up here, I'll give you scratches. Actually, I'll give you scratches. You don't have to. He's like, But you're telling me to do a thing. I don't wish to do a thing. Oh, okay. I have another cat. She does not appreciate him playing with her. That is not a top 10. Entertainingly not a top 10. So what's going to happen here is we're going to get closer and closer to finished on this, and I'm going to get weirder and weirder about it. So to that end, I'm going to make sure that we don't spend too much time on this. So, because I actually know how I work. And the truth is that I will, at some point here, get weird and not work, because we'll get remarkably close to finished. And finishing something is one of those weird things where I get weird about it. So we'll have to buckle down. So this is okay for right now, but we're going to have to make sure that I don't get too into the weeds at this point. This is when I'm most likely to get strange and stop doing the right thing. There is a legitimate break that I'm going through right now, just taking a little bit of a break, trying to get everything kind of figured out here. However, we do need to be careful. I can afford it right now. I can't really afford it in a little bit. what I will do is this continues on until Can shows up. Can shows up, I get back to work. So I can mess with this stuff until Can shows up. But I do want to do this before I forget what my problem was. Yeah, it does need to be fixed. I don't want to make this mistake again. This was an unpleasant mistake. Not a horrible one, just a silly one. It was like, why did you do that? And the truth is, I've noticed that what I'm doing now is when I do my final version, I've been trying to keep stuff off this the main center of this piece. And I'm noticing that what I'm really doing, though, is at the very end, I'm putting a white layer right between this page and all of the other layers, so it's irrelevant what's on this layer. They're all gone. There's a white layer, wipes it all out, so it won't matter. At the very end of this job, it'll be fine. So, I think T4 was what we did for. Enlisted was T4. It's hard because the line looks different, or it looks the same as the line officers, so they look like they're gray and gray. But there aren't that many line officers who are line people. So in contrast, that one's it. What I will do there, and then I can say we're having connection problems. It's that time of day, guys. We've hit 9:30. Now I can no longer have internets. So stay with me, guys. Just hang in there. Starting to get choppy. Right? I was thinking too, but he's actually asleep, so I keep thinking as that happens. But really what I think happens is something happens first thing in the morning in this neighborhood that just sucks down the resources. Something is happening, and I'm not sure what it is. Something's occurring. I don't know if it's a neighbor that, all of a sudden starts streaming or what's going on. But something really takes the resources. or it's hackers, right? Totally what's happening. You hackers, get off my thread. Get off my stream. I feel like an old guy. Get off my lawn or stream. My streamy lawn. And then I will take here that because I like that color. It's cool. All right, and we'll just have this line here of things. A hard line between the two of them. This is just a color code here. I think we're good there. Now I'm just going to move this all down so that it's at the bottom of the page, although not totally at the bottom because I want to put this guy now up on the actual page. All right, so we're just going to paste because now he can just live right here. What I'll do is I'll make him 50% or 33%, so it's not as obvious. Right? It's not. It doesn't need it. I can even make it lower than that, can't I? 25, maybe even 20. 10% maybe. Yeah, because I don't need anything but a small marker to mark where everything is. Alright, so there's that. Do the same thing over here. Grab this guy. Copy and paste. Bring him into. These, by the way, are millimeters in real time on this. So these are real-time millimeters on the actual paper. So I can, once we've got I can tell how many millimeters in things are on on the page. And that's what that's for. So I use this in case I ever need to go, crap, I'm off by 3 millimeters on this page. I can look at the grid on the side and I can measure it by taking the physical page printout and looking at the physical page and going, I really feel like this is too close to the edge, or I feel like this is close to the paper. So when we get a printout of it, I can then go in and say, ooh, this is like 3 millimeters too far out. It's hard to tell how big things are when you're looking at it on this computer because it's just huge. It's a massive, not you. It's a massive sheet and it's huge. And so it's very hard for me to see where things are on the page. So that's what we're doing here. Really? Really? It doesn't really matter. Right. So the whole point behind these is to make sure that I can see the edge of the page. I can also plot things if I need to. However, the odds of it being used are really, really slim. And so as cute as this was, and it was a good idea when I made it at the time, it's not that important now. Right? So it can still be here. It's just it needs to be more of a ghost line and not obvious or straight up like that. That works. And that won't be any problem there. And then all I do is line this guy up with it. And just put him in this far corner like so. That's that. Now I need all this information, which is important. That'll go over here. Yep, that's the idea, is that like if I'm looking at my, let's say when I print it out, I realize that I feel like the borders between each panel are really not the right size, right? They need to be slightly larger, slightly smaller, they need to be spaced together correctly, whatever. But I feel like the borders they're not straight. I can measure it with a ruler and say, what was I thinking? I'm a horrible person. Like I've been throwing these borders together haphazardly, and I really shouldn't have been, but I was. This is the first comic. I'm going to let it just go at this point in time. But there was a certain amount of haphazardness that kind of went on there, and so I probably should have been a little bit better off, but it wasn't. That's okay. We'll fix it in the next comic so that it's a little bit better off. All of this is critical because it tells me a lot of what needs to be done. keep me consistent. Right? So I use the text guy serious at 6 point. I need to use a G pen at 20 points. My tone should be at 85 LPI and my border should be 12 points. So we'll have to check to make sure all my borders are 12 points. You know what I mean? Like, these are all the things that make consistency and make it seem right. We'll make this a little smaller. So then I can put it here. And that one is not the way of this rather lovely marker to mark what's going on over here. These guys, because this is saying version 2, April 2022, I'm going to change it, of course, to say version 3 or maybe 2.5. Because this is close to the right version. I don't know what else to do. This to indicate that this is specific to this comic. I contacted somebody for the convention, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, are you the guy doing Bellatrix Rising? Because I want a copy." And I'm like, I don't know what to say to these people. Except yes and sure, of course, obviously, but it's still like it's weird. I don't know how to handle that. I'm still not sure what to do. I have such a horrible imposter syndrome going for me at that point. Because then I feel all this responsibility all of a sudden. It's like, I should do this right. I have to do this correctly. Oh no, it's you know. Can I add a layer? Hello. It's still weird. It's like I don't even know how to handle all of that stuff. It's weird. I'll get there. I mean, I'm not worried. It's just that imposter syndrome is so strange. It's such a strange thing. It's so bizarre, and it's like it just doesn't even make sense. Okay, I've pulled everything out of the edges now. So now I can bring this guy down to the correct size, which should work in theory, right? Let's see what happens. What we'll do, we'll change canvas size. We'll go in here really close and tight so we can make sure that we get right at the exact spot we need to be at, by the millimeter. So there. Nope. Really? There's no undo on that. Gotcha. Back in to the millimeter. And then we learn that we don't get to do that. All right. Use the handlers to do this. Here. We want it to the pixel. There we go. Okay. And that should give us a full page that is clean and clear. And we know that we want the canvas to be 140 by 215. So let's make sure that that's where we are. 140 by 215. Image resolution. Unit millimeters. It's not close. This would explain why things aren't going the way they should be. The width is 140. And it's not even, oh my God. So, why are you saying 141 by 214? It should be 140 millimeters by 215 millimeters, and then we're over by 24 millimeters. The question really is that extending out? Okay. First of all, it needs to go up slightly because it needs to go up by 1.12. Okay, so now we're up by 0.12. At least one aspect of this is correct. The question is the bottom aspect of we're over by a bunch. All right, off we get to the rulers. Time to do the rulers. Bring in macros. And if I'm doing anything, it's going to be exactly like a macros manga, as much as it possibly can. So the height of my macros manga is 180 millimeters. And the width of my macros manga is 120 something millimeters. So our canvas is already screwed up in the wrong size. Right? We've already figured this out. Internals 105. Okay, let's start the work. Once again, so, okay, part of the reason that we have a problem is this. Manga is, by default, weird. Some of the manga are bigger, some of the manga are smaller. They're off by a few millimeters. It depends on whether you're using this mode of manga or whether it's this manufacturer or this company that does it or whatever. The manga is always slightly weird. What isn't weird is the internal portion of the page versus the external portion of the page. That's never weird. That's always the same. So I'm trying to make it, the proportion from the outside of the page to the inside of the page. The outside of the manga changes shape slightly, but that inside square is always 105 by whatever. That inner core is always one. I didn't ask you. I literally did not ask you. You're literally talking whenever I'm not talking. Okay. Once again, I will talk to you about this. You know what I need to do is take a picture of it with my phone, use that picture, and then save it with all of this data on it. Around it. Now, what is this? This is a good break. I'm starting to burn a little bit, and I can feel it. And so, even though this is frustrating, I rather enjoy this. And this, it sounds like I'm like all like, ah! But the truth is, I'm like, but this is kind of fun. And it's kind of useful, and it's very useful. So let's go ahead and just do this. Macross. Macross manga. Right, so let's bring up a manga page. One looks like it's clear on all sides. You look relatively clear on all sides. So Mikimoto does not like to stay within all four boundaries. Mikimoto has a problem with that, which cracks me up every time. But he doesn't like to live within his boundaries. So he always bleeds, right? It's really hard to get a page that is clear on all sides. Okay, no problem. So this is Mikimoto. This is from what's called Macross 7 Trash. And we're going to use a red to indicate nothing. We've got to change you to color. Yeah, we can do some. What we're going to do is this. We're going to say that. We're going to say that. Right? Then we're going to talk about that and that. See you in a sec. So 105 millimeters. Taking the middle of one of these pages, and I'm looking across this middle piece, double checking, triple checking. We're at 105 millimeters. It should be always 105 millimeters. So this man will never stay within his boundaries, so I can't ever tell what the height boundaries are. My girl, media. Ain't it, man? You gotta learn your boundaries, dude. One 55, 56, 57. 157. So this one, then, over to so these boxes are always going to be 105 millimeters by 157 millimeters, and that's the way it always is going to be. Okay, cool. Now the page itself is 180 millimeters. I have done this a number of times and I'm getting kind of frustrated, so I'm writing these measurements down. So that we don't have to mess with them anymore. Okay. And the width is a little hard to read. Impossible. Width. Versus 127. So we'll take this guy. We duplicate him. One, 2, 7 millimeters. All right. I have done this a number of times. Now I'm finally going to just save this stupid page. Okay, we're going to change the canvas size to millimeters. And the width is going to be 127. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Cancel. Put image size. And we're going to say 600 dpi, because that's where we are. And say millimeters, and the width is going to be 127. 191. So it's higher than it. I mean, already I'm like, well, that sucks. All right. Right. So what we need to do is take this bottom line here and bring it up until it's here. That way it can sit here. Like so. All right. So we changed the canvas size. Its height needs to be 180. Right? So 127 by 180. That's an issue. So already it doesn't fit. See the problem? There's obviously ink here. There's obviously a number here. Which then makes me think what I need to do. Grab this section right here. And copy it. And then file new. Whatever. Paste it. Change canvas size. So handle that. Okay, so we know this is 157 by 105. We'll go like this. Just right up there. And saying, I think part of this is that it may be that Mikimoto got a different. Yeah. Mikimoto got a different face of determination noticing, maybe, the face of frustration. It's not quite fitting in. I think what's happened is Mikimoto got a different publisher between Macross 7 Trash and Macross the First. And so the Kadokawa Comics, this is Kadokawa Comics A, and I think that what's happening is I've got a different publisher coming in on this, and so these are of a different brand. So maybe I need to open a different page that's actually from Macross the First. The problem is that his Macross the First mangas, he doesn't hold to the conventions very well. He likes to be all over the place and bleed all over the place. He's bleeding out, man. So it's hard to find Macross the First page that isn't weird. That isn't, I mean, like, I guess this is probably the closest we've got to all the pages being the correct size and the correct ratio. So let's take a look. It's almost there. He's got one panel that's out, like so. But that's it. So this is probably our closest Macross the First page that we can get. Let's go on ahead and try this, because maybe this is a better move. Let's just go on ahead. We know we want it to match Macross the First. So I'll get down here and I'll trim right into there. And then we'll trim to right there. And we'll just trim that off because he's being a goofball. Okay? And we now know that this guy needs to be change image resolution. And this better darn well fit. 150. Resolution 600. Where are we in the center? 105 by 157. Naturally, that doesn't surprise me, which means that he went down below too far. This is so frustrating. It's hard to deconstruct. It's hard to deconstruct it. Because none of the pages he's doing are uniform. I mean, I know I can see he's staying within, looking at the manga, I can see that there are different aspects where he's staying within the lines. But some of these are what we call full bleed, right? They're bleeding out all the way to the top here, like that. And he's trying to full bleed out, and that makes some sense, right? Right here, he's inside with this panel, but not these two up here. Bottom and the top just bleed right off the top, bottom of that. And then as things get wilder and wilder in the story, he bleeds all over the place. He's bleeding out, man, bleeding out. Right, and here, I can get a clean line from here to here and here to here, but I can't get a clean line anywhere else. Not over here. Number one's not over there, George. I know, weird, huh? It's so weird. So what would happen if I just trimmed it down to 180 on this thing, or 157? First of all, I'm starting to question my inside lines. That's very square. It's much squarer. So maybe I measured that wrong. Measure 17 times, cut 5 times, and then rebuild it 6 times. We all know that that's the way it goes in the real world. One, 5, 7, 1, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, 5, 1, 5, 7. 105. Maybe I did this wrong. I know what I did wrong, I think. Oh, yeah. 150, not 10. Hi. Okay. Oh, whoa. How do you rotate and... Okay, what happened? What button did I just push? Now I'm getting frustrated. I didn't know some button one. Yeah, it's tilted itself. Apparently we can do that. All right, that's fine. I can do that. I can't get it to go the other direction, but I can make it do that. It's fine. All right, part of our problem is this. Change canvas size. Backed up past that, so we gotta change the image size. That's a problem. There we go. And it's 157. Okay, now we're back. We're back. All right. That's better. So 157, 157, 105, 105. That fits. Everything fits. All right. Now let's increase the canvas size, and just the canvas size, to... Are there instructions here? To 180 by 127. So change the canvas size to 180 by 127. 127. The height is 180. And that is the correct size. And you can even see, with a few millimeters off, it trimmed just a hair up there. But that's it. And that's a page. Okay. Whew. Maybe we should keep that there. We don't need the mangareader.net. That took a lot of effort. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'll say with green and the green bars that and now we know, and knowing's half the battle. Yojo. All right. So the reason that we're doing this is because This is the fourth time I have done this measurement thing where I've hauled out the ruler and measured the manga. And every time I get a different measurement and a different set. And so I'm going to set this so that we don't do this anymore. 157 and 180. This is definitive. There we go. Now we'll save this as not Macross, but rather in Guy the Artist. And I will say Macross page measurements. There. And leave it alone. Okay. And this, then I can close this, do not save. I can close this, do not save. These are correct now. And that makes this, and we'll see whether this fits in here now. Copy. We'll put it over here, and let's see what happens. See, now we're off. This is stuff that makes Gromnin cry, guys. Just what really needs to happen is this guy needs to be 127 up. That will be fine. So we're going to undo that. I'm going to make you change canvas size, width, 127. Size, width, 127. Check with this. And the internal lines are just slightly off now. All right. We're closer, a lot closer. But we're still off, and that's part of the problem is that I just guided an entire 32-page comic on the guides that are wrong. And that's going to be an issue. So what's going to end up happening is we're going to flatten out all the pages for comic 1, then we're going to make a new comic. And that's what's going to end up occurring. And then I'm going to have to do a new 32 pages. Once we're sure we're okay with everything, and once everything is settled, once we're baked on the first comic so that it is exactly the way we want it, we're going to then take we're going to take that exact measurement. I'm going to bring it over onto these guys. So the first comic will never be editable once we get out of this one because of the mistakes that we have made here. That's okay. I was a little rushed. I wanted to get started. I didn't do the right thing, and that's okay. But here's a good sign. The page number fits exactly into the box where it belongs. There we go. Now that is the correct size, and it should hold correctly. So now we are lined up and aligned correctly. For this to be the correct size. Okay. Man, that took a lot of effort. And, as you might imagine, this is not the correct spot. That's the dividing line between all right, okay, now we've done it and all is good. I don't think the rulers are set correctly anymore, which means we're gonna have to probably figure that out, but because if this internal piece wasn't correct, then the rulers aren't aligned correctly either, which is fine. We'll get there. The truth is, what we can do is make a new folder that's 600 dpi, and make it the width of 2, of 1, and set the units for millimeters. Right? So the width of 2 and the height of 1. Right? And this gives us literally a 1 millimeter, whatever, half millimeter thing. So we will go then copy, paste, see, doing the thing. It's got this going for it. So paste gives me a widget about this big. Finding the halfway point's kind of difficult. This, kind of impossible. Right there. So we'll take this, 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 and make a line there. And that's our halfway point. Really. Sure. Let's see where it tastes. It's not bad. Right, that's not bad. I probably want to put this blue one between the two anyway. Really need to figure out what to do about this, guys. It need to not be rounded. Decision-making process. All right. Let me just take you. All right. Sensi. 3 centimeters. Nope. So we have dinosaur farts. That's, a show thing. That's a thing. That's a thing, guys. Oh, hey, you know what? You'll appreciate this. I read recently that the Navy's going to put barcodes on all their ships. They learned it from Norway, because Norway does that too. That way, when the ships come back, they can Scandinavia. That one's definitely a dad joke of epic dad proportions. Okay. This is where where I start to go, okay, what's wrong with my world? What's wrong with my world? It is a half a millimeter too big. Why is it a half a millimeter too big? I made literally 2 millimeters, right? So why? It shouldn't be half a millimeter too big or half a millimeter too small. It should be right on the target, right? So we know that the width of this is supposed to be not 140 by 215, but rather they crashed in the road. It's a Humpty Dumpty joke there. And here's the reason. This line should be at 30. It's here, and it's not. It's not at that line. I'm not sure what the story is. Stupid butter. Spreading rumors. All right, we're going to try this again. This time we're going to do this. We're just going to delete everything. You know what? Have even a better idea. Take you to you, right? We'll just delete you because this needs to be accurate. It can't just be close. It has to be accurate. So there's to 10. And for reasons that we aren't sure why it's not at 10. So we'll make it to 10. There we go. Now it's at 10. Which, interestingly, looks like the actual underneath here, these guys are actually correct too. Right? And they're only off by a little bit. Yep, 125, 627. 127 on the nose. Okay. So these are set up correctly. These are going the right direction. I don't need to redo these. They're correct. So all of this stuff is not necessary. Because that's not necessary. This is correct. We just need to make sure that well, no, it's not correct because look, it's off. That's correct. Correct either. Really? Really, people? Really? Okay. There. Right? Finally, that's at 10. Leave it alone, it's a 10. Duplicate that stupid layer. Put it right here. Right? Let's take it off and multiply so that I can see directly how we're doing here. Take Q off and multiply 2. this should be at exactly 20. Why are you growing by 1 every time? What is the story? Why are you doing this to me? And I know that I'm off by a pixel on all of these, but it shouldn't be off by a pixel. I'm guessing that what's happening is you need to be like this. I feel like I am losing my mind slightly here. Right? I mean, like, trying to get this to just line up would be really nice, but it doesn't seem to wanna. And it's off by a pixel, which is, you'd think, okay, off by a pixel, but by the time we get to the end of the page, it's off by like a half a millimeter. And if I'm trying to move things around by 1 millimeter on this artwork, half a millimeter is significant. I wonder if I would find that there is extra data on the other side here. Let's see what this is. There, good, finally. That's all I want. So hard to find good help these days. You move that in, clink. That's at 50, and that's at 60. All right, there we go. I think we're finally doing it right. I may speak too soon. Watch me speak too soon, because that's not an ongoing problem. Is it 70? Really? 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 This is what we gotta do. I don't think that's going to be that big of a problem right there. But at least that is accurate. Now, what I want to know is why this guy, dead center, is not where it should be, but that's okay. We can figure that out in a second. Biggest problem is I've never been the math guru that I should be, but I love precision. And so we have a problem with things not being precise. There we go. See how that ends nicely there? I like that. That works. Fine. We have a problem with things not being precise. And then it bothers me. I can sense it. I can feel that things aren't precise. I can feel that things are off. Then I have to go back and fuss with it until it's fixed, but I don't have the mathematical brain to do it mathematically where everything would just line up cleanly. If anybody was ever wondering why it's important to know math, I am a poster child for it. I'm just saying, I'm just a poster child for this. I'm totally a poster child for this. All right, so here's what we got. we're going to go to the dead center here. And the dead center needs to be either here or here. We have to figure that out. So if the width is 127, is 63.5, which means it actually is exactly on, right? So 6, 1, 2, 3, and 1/2 is dead center. So between these two is going to be dead center. That's the actual center of the page. Fine, it works. And now that we have a ruler that's actually accurate, I'm going to duplicate it and put it at the bottom of the page. That will be the same. There we go. Perfect. Now, hopefully, nope, not even remotely. No, I mean, why would I assume that anything would ever work correctly? But we have parts of it here. Yeah, that's right. All right, we'll roll in until it lines up this way, and then we'll see what happens. This is probably a pixel error of some sort. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. That's where the pages should end, right here. And oddly, it's still in alignment here. That's weird. You know why? Because we haven't actually done the assessment for how far down we need to go. Okay, that's fair. So, now we got to play the other weird game. Because I think we're okay there, and actually, even though I'm like, I think really the truth is we're off by a couple of pixels down here because of the extension. Because it is 180 and lined up with this line, this bottom bar right here. So the 180 fits. And that's okay. So that's the bottom of the page. This bottom extension is only for webtoons, right? So the webtoons needs to be a final resolution of 800 by 1280, right? So we're going to make a new one, and we're going to make it pixels. I'm going to say 800. 1280. And this is the webtoons page. I know, right? I'm almost moving into Star Trek territory at this point. It's all right. I needed a break today. It's all good. This is strangely comforting. I know that sounds weird. So knowing that this final resolution needs to be 127. We're going to take this, we're going to then say here change image resolution. I'm going to switch gears to millimeters. And we're going to say 127. And that'll give us 203 as our down. 203.2 no less. So, part of the reason we have a weird issue with this is because we'll do this. We'll make this color. Copy. If this now puts this page in, right? So let's look at what we've got. You'll notice that it fits perfect. I mean, down to the pixel. All right. So we are clear on Webtoons. That's just the nature of the beast. Webtoons is extensive. It goes down the bottom. That's not a problem. Okay, so that becomes 203 at the bottom. We're okay. Don't worry about it. So the fact that this becomes 180, 190, 200, 203.2, which is what it said. And that actually is accurate. So there you go. So we are fine. Everything is okay. We're all fine here now. How are you? Dumb conversation anyway. Luke, we're gonna have company. There we go. So that's the 0.5 on that side. No problem. All right, we've done it. That works. That's there. It's 0.2. It's not even 0.5. It's like this ridiculous 0.2. We'll duplicate this layer. We'll put it over here. Line it up properly. And the ruler is accurate. What we need to do is move these guys down, or move these guys up just a hair. Because they're right now in the actual frame. We don't want it in the frame. All right. Just a little bit, just so it's out of this there. There we go. All right. All righty. If I want to continue on down here, I can. It now goes the extended line. We'll just make sure that all of these lines are lined up. They are. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All things are lined up. Now what we're going to do is this. Go like this and just clear out the old lines so that they're not there anymore. Here. For some reason I read that epoxy. Really? Let's try this again. This time, not messing with things that are there already. There we go. Now we can do it this way. read your epoxy thing as to be Egyptian. I don't know why. So you're working on Egyptian stuff, apparently, in my world. All right. Is halfway through the. It's not a day until I drop completely out of the stream. We're just not having a complete day until that occurs. So there's that. All right. Yeah, I did. Like I said, it's not a good day. It's not a complete day of streaming until I drop completely out of the stream. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 is right here. So this is the dead center. There we go. All right. So this is version 2.5. We will use this one instead of that one. And we will say okay, how am I supposed to get this color? Oh, is this one of those? That's right. This doesn't work this the way you want it to. Moments. There we go. All right. Let's make sure these say the same thing. It doesn't. All of this stuff. That says the right thing. 157, 158. So inner border size is up. I believe that the font here is always Arial. Intervals are 7. Reset all of these things. That's right, we only have to go once. All right. Finish size, the canvas is not 140 because we're no longer wide like that. So it's 127 by 180 because it was wider for all of the extra stuff that was around it. So that's why it's not. So we want 127 Arial black, please. By there's some really annoying traits in this program. One of them is that it has a horrible tendency the finish side is bleh. So the height is 180, inside is 157, right? So that's where that goes there, 180, 157. It's going to be 127 on the side, 180 the height, but it's not because it's slightly longer because of the canvas. Okay, so yep, it's 203 something. Right, so it's that whatever that is. It's 203.25. Right. All right. Very good. We're good. We're figuring this out. We got this. We got it. We're under control. No, we're not. So the finish size then is this by this inside, because we want this to be a different ratio. It's 105 to 115, 157 to 190. So it's a 5mm bleed. All of these codes have to be correct because this is the way we make Clip Studio do the pages so that they're offset, so that they're not lined up in the middle. They need to be offset so that we can put them in and make them work. And that's this inner guy we got to figure out here. And he looks like he's, well, like got rulers. Right? So this guy goes 171, 2, 3, 4, 174 minus 4 at the top. No matter what, I'm looking at this going, everything's starting off in weird places, right? Because this should be a 5mm bleed, but it's not, it's a 6mm bleed. It makes me think that really what it's doing here is it's offsetting by this 1mm extra space. I know. See you later. Have fun. See you tonight. Well, I'm probably still arguing with this. Don't be arguing with this. I think that inner millimeter doesn't count. I think we're just adding it for extra bleed. Like, I'm not sure. Now I'm unsure and slightly annoyed. Man. All right. I'm going to head out. I'll see you all later. I'll see you tonight. Or maybe I won't, depending on how my COVID shot goes. So we'll see. So talk to you later. Bye.